We're telling you, you're going to look like all these people, you're going to feel like all these people, and you're going to die like all these people.
Well, they didn't die. In fact, tens of thousands of people in San Francisco outlived the AIDS epidemic of the 1980s. For more than a year, a team of journalists and filmmakers for the San Francisco Chronicle documented what life is like for these survivors. It's called The Last Men Standing.
And this Friday, the documentary film premieres at the Castro Theater in San Francisco, a neighborhood that everyone knows, of course, was unfortunately ground zero during the AIDS crisis. Today on the 4x4, we're talking to a longtime survivor and to the filmmakers about that important project.
And with us now, filmmakers Aaron Brethauer and Tim Husson wrote, produced, and directed the film Last Men Standing, and also Jesus Guillen, a longtime survivor and one of the men featured in the articles and also the film. Thank you all for being here with us.
Thank you for having us here.
Jesus, let's start with you. If you can just take us back, even through the decades, and not so much medically, but what it was like socially, living with AIDS, and how it's changed up until now, 2016, or maybe the social acceptance hasn't changed.
God, if anything, remember that in those days we were expecting to die almost immediately. The guy that passed me the HIV, he died 1 year later. To live with that fear that you're gonna die, you know, day after day, and then you may live 5 years, you may live 10 years, you may live 20, and here we are 30 years later. Yeah.
You know, I thought one of the most touching moments of the film was really when one man said, "You got your life back, but I'm not sure that I wanted it." And that's because this film really is about people who are aging with HIV and how the system is not about really helping them at this point into you know, senior citizenship. What was the most surprising thing making the film for you when it came to that and the statistics saying that more people in their 50s now have HIV?
That is correct.
It was surprising to me to start to understand that these people did survive, and they battled the disease and did whatever they could, and then even at that point they weren't sure they wanted their life back. Some of them had dealt with so much loss and so much death that they didn't know how to move on, and with such resilience a lot of them have been able to, and I find that personally to be really amazing.
And Aaron, why tell this story? Why tell it now, today, 2016? Why tell it here in San Francisco?
I think because this is a generation of people that really needs help and needs aid, and also it's a really important story now because it's such a San Francisco story too. You know, this is a really particular thing that affected our area, and it's really important for us to be able to tell these survivor stories.
You know, it's so important because 6,000 people live with HIV for more than 20 years. You're one of them. You've lived with it for more than 30 years. And I think it's important for people to know, right, that even though there are drug cocktails like Truvada that are keeping people alive, it's not all that easy still, right? You still have health issues, and there's a lot to go through still health-wise.
Exactly, and this is something very important that you guys are mentioning. It's not only the physical aspects of it, but the mental aspects of it. There's so much PTSD, anxiety, nightmares, etc., you know, to live with this. Imagine precisely that you've been told not once but a few times you're gonna die, you know, so to live with that is very, very difficult. But besides that, yes, we have so many you know, comorbidities, you know, other diseases that we're living with, you know, and so it's not easy. Sadly, we're living in those times that we think precisely everything is fine if you just take a pill, but for us, the long-term survivors, it's not easy.
No, it's really not easy. That's what the film shows. And also, you know, not many people that had HIV actually planned for living long. They thought, you know, they cashed in their insurance policies, whatever they could do, because they thought they want to live well just in the short term. And now a lot of people are facing that financial problem.
Yes. Not only we were not prepared to grow older, but also society is not ready for us. And one of the amazing things that hopefully this film is creating precisely is actions and reactions to help us for resources and for services, because we need them. We need them very much. And one important thing to all the survivors, we guys, we're not alone. Tell your story. Find a way to tell your story. You know, that's so important.
Well, and Tim, when Jesus is talking about telling the story, what was it like finding people, survivors, to tell their stories? And when people see this film, What do you want them to walk away with? What will they learn?
Well, it was amazing to be let into their lives. I mean, a lot of these people have such interesting stories and have lived through so much hardship that I have not even gotten close to experiencing. So to hear them tell their stories and to have the honor of being able to then record it on film and tell that story to a larger audience has been such an interesting experience for me. And I mean, I hope people take away awareness of what they went through and what they're going through today, how they might be able to use some resources, and also just documenting history, a very important piece of the Bay Area.
And moving forward, what do we need to, what does the city need to focus on now? Because the resources, as you say, are simply not there. It's all about prevention and looking for a possible cure. But for the thousands of people like you that are living with this and getting older, what does the city need to do right now to help?
All right, first, we definitely, all the agencies and organizations, about 60% of the population in San Francisco is over 50 years old. So we have the issues not only with HIV, but also HIV and growing older with it. So they need to adapt to all these different things. But also, once again, most of us, we were not prepared to be here. We were supposed to be dead. And suddenly, again, many people were spending money with credit cards and everything. So we didn't have the resources to grow older like most of the people do.
But how did you do it, Jesus?
Yes.
You survived. You're here. You're thriving. You're living. How did you do it? Make it through those times?
You know something. All what I can tell you is that most of us, we ask that question: why me? Why am I still alive? I'm sorry, I don't want to cry. Why am I here and the person that infected me died 1 year later? We don't have those answers. But all what we can say is that we're here. And I say that not only survivors, but surviving still. It hasn't stopped. We still are going on, you know?
And it was really apparent too, I mean, one of the guys that we interviewed too, he asked the question, am I one of the luckiest ones or am I the unluckiest lucky person to survive this? And one of the 8 men we actually worked with passed away during this project. So it's still a very real thing for these guys going through this.
And that was, I read that was Peter Green, 61 years old, and that was his quote, I am the luckiest unlucky person in the world.
Wow, very powerful. Thank you so much for coming, and Jesus, I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having us
It's a
here.
pleasure. Thanks.
Okay.
And we also have links to the documentary websites on KTVU.com. We've also posted a link to the Facebook on Long-Term Survivors Group. You can go to KTVU.com, find all that information, including when you can try to see the documentary for yourself.